If you've Googled how to stop guessing myself as a coach, this episode is for you because I'm breaking down why you're second guessing every decision in your coaching business and what to do instead. And be sure to stick around because I'm going to get super tangible at the end of the episode with 5 tangible real life tips that are going to help you stop the decision making fatigue. Welcome, coaches, to the second episode of our 4-part series called Momentum. I'm helping you as we move from April into May build momentum with some episodes that you probably didn't even know that you needed. And this is in order to help you have some breakthroughs and really build some fast momentum in your business. And if you didn't catch it, episode 1 was the last episode. I introduced why this topic, what this topic is culminating in after these 4-part series, and the opportunity you have, which is to come get coached with by me live on an area that you're just feeling stuck in your business. Like if you ever were like, just, I want to pick her brain. I just need some help. I want this one question answered. I don't know what I don't know. Come join me live on May 7th at 9 a.m. Arizona time. You can sign up by heading on over to amanda-walker.com/get coached. You're going to sign up and then you'll have a chance to submit a question in the type form. I'm going to take those questions first. And then with whatever time's left, we're going to dive into all the other questions. And so today, I'm talking about why you're second guessing every decision in your coaching business. And maybe it's not every decision for you, but for most of the clients I have the opportunity to work with, there's a severe amount of overthinking happening. And guess what? It's killing you. It's wasting your time. It's stopping you from taking action. So if you've literally Googled how to trust myself, how to stop Googling myself, then this episode is for you because I don't actually believe you have a clarity problem. You have a confidence leak. And today I'm going to give you some aha moments and then a clear path of action to help you build, you guessed it, momentum. So I think that this is an all too common problem. I myself have been there early on in my business. I remember very clearly I was launching the podcast, actually, which I'm going to start as a place of contention in my own brain. And I was like, oh man, I know I want to put myself out there, but like, what does that mean? And so I asked all the people their opinions. I asked and did all the research, like, should I start a podcast? I, journaled on it. I, had all the questions, wasted probably days, hours, weeks of my life just wondering, should I start a podcast? And I remember my coach at the time said, close your eyes. And I just want you to imagine you're talking to one of your ideal clients and ask how she found you. And it was like very clearly, I had this whisper. It was like, she heard you. It was like, oh, yeah, hello. Why have I been second guessing myself? This is definitely a sign that I'm not trusting myself and I'm in this overthinking spiral. And so I want to help you get out of that today. And I'm just excited to really work through this conversation with you. And so if you've ever felt like you're wasting time, you're overthinking it, you're sitting in analysis paralysis, you've wrote the thing and you've never hit publish, you write something down and then you rewrite it 30 different times, you're scared of making the wrong move, all of this episode is for you to help you move out of that place because it's not going to help you create the impact nor profit that you want. And so, if you're stuck or have been stuck and feel paralyzed by making decisions in your business, you're just not alone. And so today we're going to break down why this happens first off and how to move forward so you have complete confidence. You're not a leaky faucet of lack of confidence. And so I think, like I mentioned, some of the common symptoms that you might be experiencing in your daily life is that you're second guessing your pricing. You start to say it out loud on a sales call and then you slash it with like unconsciously. You put it on a sales page and like change it a million times. You are uncertain in your coaching calls. And so you want to say this one thing, but then quickly you audit or edit yourself. Then you leave the call feeling like, dang it, I should have said the thing. Even your offer name, you overthink. You go to chat and try to get all the feedback, and still you stare at it like, I don't know. And so you often are just making a decision, then immediately feeling like it was the wrong. And so where does this come from? I think is the question we want to ask ourselves. And I think it's like deep, and we could spend time talking about places in our life where maybe our personal authority or autonomy or self trust have been skewed or challenged. And so that creates second guessing. But I think one of the big things is we're in this weird world, but super cool world where we are kind of inundated with other people doing what we're doing, right? As coaches, we can jump on any social platform and very quickly see other people doing the work. And so we have this idea in our brain of what it could look like. Maybe we even tell ourselves what it should look like. And so we are a little bit hesitant because we're thinking, oh my gosh, their way is the right way. And so this is something that is really powerful. This is just to share a little bit of values level work. Many of us step into entrepreneurship as what's a values four. Values fours are very black and white. They like the structure. They have this very clear: go to college, get a degree, work a job, have a family. It's very in a box thinking. And then when you become an entrepreneur, I know for me specifically, my mind was blown of all these people doing their own thing, of not feeling like they could fit in a box. And so I started blowing out that box. I started actually seeing that the things I thought were quote unquote right actually weren't. And not that they were wrong. It was just that you could do things a different way. You could put a roast in a crock pot and also a pressure cooker and also on the stove, and it could lead the same direction. But some people are going to say the crock pot's the only way. Other people, like my aunt, would be like pressure cooker all day. And so when I started to see this, my mind was blown. And so it starts to reaffirm this shift into values level 5. And that person just says, like, yeah, my way is the right way for me, which I'm going to talk more about in just a moment. So a lot of the root causes of this second guessing come from fear of doing it wrong. They also come from this fear of judgment or failure, because if we're honest with each other, there's probably a history in our lives of when we did things maybe that weren't status quo, we stepped out of that box, or you've witnessed other people do different things and heard a lot of people judge them. Or maybe it's your own family, which I find for many of my clients, it's like going to the family gathering, the family barbecue this summer, and you want to talk about the fact that you're a coach. And then somebody's like, I can't believe you're doing that. For me, what it sounds like, do you actually make money doing that? Are you ever going to go back to teaching? And I'm like, heck no, never. My grandma was like classic for this. Till she was 100 years old and passed away. She'd be like, I'm so sad you're not teaching anymore. And I'm like, oh, grandma, you're so cute. And never. But that's okay. She doesn't need to know all the ins and outs of it. But I just appreciated how traditional and in the box, and that was right for her. So it's that fear that kicked out of like the group mentality, right? Of, man, I'm doing this thing, I'm going rogue, and what are people going to say about it? And the reality is they're going to have something to say if you do it or you don't do it. And I know I'd rather please myself and please my family and create the freedoms that we want. And in the words of Mel Robbins, let them, right? Another root cause. I'm gonna give you 4 root causes. We've already hit on 1. 2 is fear of judgment. 3 is another reason this over guessing kind of thing, this decision making fatigue, over analysis paralysis thing happens, is that you lack the strategy or the structure. And so it leads you actually to just overthinking and decision making fatigue. So you kind of don't know where you should be spending your time. You're like doing life, maybe it's a corporate job or parenting, and then you're like, okay, I got an hour to work on my business, but you don't really know where to go. And so you end up doing the things that don't necessarily move the needle, and that can be very tragic in your business. And lastly, this final piece that I think is powerful, it's that statement or that question of like, yeah, but who am I to? Who am I to show up and talk live about my expert topic, even though I've only been doing, coaching for 3 months? Who am I to put a podcast out there? Who's going to listen to it? Who am I to host a workshop and teach someone? Like, will anybody ever come? And so those imposter feelings rise up. They create hesitation, they create overthinking, and they lead to that topic, which we're, hitting on today, which is that big one of the second guessing, because then everything takes longer. And so what could have been accomplished in an hour takes 4 hours. And this is where your big energy link is. Second guessing isn't just about losing confidence and not trusting your intuition, it's a big about wasting time. And so these things hurt your business because it slows down the momentum and totally kills creativity. You also miss out on a lot of opportunities because instead of just saying yes to the thing, you're over here overthinking, well, what if I say it wrong? Like on a coaching call today in the BDC, one of our students has been on a few podcasts and it massively impacted her business. And she's like, I know I need to pitch more podcasts, but like I have these 3 topics. I'm not sure if they're right. Like, are they worded? I was like, okay, we got to get out of the details. What are the 3 things you're most passionate about talking about? Tell me right now. And she was like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, go talk about that. Those are the things you need to talk about on podcasts. It will fall in line. And so you end up missing out on opportunities because you're waiting for this burst of clarity or this burst of confidence to happen, which isn't going to happen because action is what begets both of those. You've got to go through the motions and like answer the questions so you can get the clarity or go take the action so you know what's working. The other reason I think this hurts your business is if, here, I'll just say it this way, confused energy equals confused audience. So if you're putting your energy into different places and you're here and you're here and you have this thing and you have this thing, your audience is a confused mind says no, by the way. So they just are kind of like, oh, I'm just going to watch. I'm just not going to engage. And I definitely know this firsthand because when I remember years ago in a sales call, she's like, I see all these things. I just don't even know where to start with you. Like, what's the best offer? And I was like, oh, yeah, this is overwhelming. This is confusing. And so that's the area, that paralyzes your business and hurts your business is confused audience isn't going to take action. And lastly, I think another way this hurts your business is just your total confidence. It's like you second guess yourself, you second guess how you show up, what you wear, how you do your makeup, if you go step into rooms, how you introduce yourself at the networking event or the stranger at the grocery store, the library, or the gym. But here's the reality, you guys, confidence is contagious. So if your people see you showing up with confidence, then they're like, ooh, I want what she's got, no matter what coaching niche you're in. But if you're stuck in limbo and you've been talking about doing the thing for a long time and you haven't actually done it, like they pick up on that. If you're talking about doing it, but you're not modeling it, they pick up on that. And so these are the ways that the tangible ways that second guessing yourself actually cause a slowdown in your business. And for some of you, you've been spending years in this place. And so my hope is that the strategies I'm going to provide next, which are 5 of them, I'm going to give you 5 ways to stop guessing yourself. 5 things you can do right now, tangible tools that you can do to shift your energy from in limbo, stuck, second guessing to complete confidence and clarity without hesitation. Yeah? Would that be nice? Excellent. And so here we go. So step number 1 is I want you to imagine it's like now your new filter for which you're going to run every decision in your business from. It's like your own personal tool. And so when opportunities and ideas come in, you're going to run it through the tool in your brain, and that's going to help you make a steadfast, quick decision. And so the first thing that you need to do to like create this tool is answer this one big question for yourself. And that is, what is my number one goal in my business right now? Okay, so that's part 1. Well, hold on to that question. I'm going to say it first. So you need to identify, is getting clients my number one goal? Is getting on podcasts my number one goal? Is growing my lead magnet and email list my number one goal right now? I think ultimately they all lead to Rome, which is more money, more profit, more impact. But I need you to know what your number one goal is right now, because that is going to clarify your overthinking very quickly. Because when opportunities come up, when you run it through this decision filter, then you're going to know, have a very clear yes or no. So when you know what that is, and then the second guess, the second part of that is clarity of values. Does it align with my values? And also my audience. So if a podcast speaking opportunity comes to you and it is to travel to New York and you're in Arizona like me, and it's to talk about, let's say, how to weave in fitness into a coaching business. For me, what I have to go through is, does it support my number one goal, which right now is getting more clients? It doesn't actually, because I don't talk about fitness anymore. It is who I am. If you watch my Instagram stories, you're going to see me working out consistently, but I don't have a lead magnet or an offer to support any entrepreneur or coach, rather, who would want to come in and learn how to add fitness into my routine. Like, it's just a hard no. It doesn't support, and it just doesn't support my audience. So that for me would be a hard no. Or let's just say that you are out there and you find a coach, for instance, that has a program, and that program is teaching you a specific certification. And you're like, wow, I really need that. Because here's the thing, I love you all, but you are sometimes in a certification spiral. And you have a certification or you have the knowledge already, but that certification comes up. You're like, wow, I really think I should invest that 7K. I'm like, pump the brakes. Does it support your number one goal to get clients? No, then it's a no right now. It could be a later, but it's a no right now. And so it's really powerful. So every decision I make is run through that filter. What's my number one goal? To get more clients. So I'm going to say no to things right now, and I'm going to say yes to the things that get me those clients. And so that's very clear. For you, it might be email list growth. So then double down on that. So that is tangible tool number one. Number two, I love this one, is time block your decision window. So you could do this in two ways. If I'm working on, let's say, a graphic, you could literally set your timer and say, I'm going to make this graphic, and in 1 hour, I will be done with it. I'm not going to go back and fix the colors and the font and because that's such a time suck. Or if you have an opportunity, you can say to yourself, I'm going to give myself 24 hours to decide and then move on. So it doesn't last 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Because the time you give yourself is the time it will take. And it's not about the actual decision. It's the energy that the decision will steal from you if you don't make it quickly. Cool. That's number two. Number three, this is literally our motto in the BDC, is fail faster. And so the idea being, which I'll revisit because we talked about it at the beginning episodes back in January of this year, which is 2025, is the faster you can fail, the faster you get the feedback to know how to make your best next move. So if you're overthinking a decision on a workshop title and it takes you 7 months to produce the workshop, you've wasted 6 months because you could have just selected a title and been like, well, did anybody show up? Yes. Okay, so it's working. Did anybody convert? Okay, so yes, it's working. I'm on the right track. Reels or static posts. Okay, we'll do them both quickly in the next day and get some feedback as to whether or not they work. So every wrong decision really becomes data for you on how to move forward. And I think this is one of the most critical reframes you can offer yourself to create momentum, is how fast can we fail? Can you track your failures, quote unquote? Because they're really not failures. It's not a disaster. It's really data. And making decisions with this constant lens of curiosity in our business is going to make you way more successful than just sitting. That's number three. Tool or step rather, number 4, or tool number 4, you could call it, is turn down the noise. I had this with a private client recently. She's a corporate client. I was working with her one-to-one. She had like 3 coaches that were coaching her inside the business. She had me, and then she had her husband, and then her direct boss. And she was like, I am overloaded. It's like 6 people's opinions. And I was like, okay, let's have this hard conversation right now. And this may mean that I'm out of a job. And I said, let's write all of their names and let's slowly whittle them down. I'm like, okay, 6 people. Who are the top 3 people that add value to your life? She circled them. I was like, okay, how can we slowly pull out so that you're really limiting yourself to a few, 1, 2 really trusted coaches, mentors in your life? And that might mean you need to mute accounts, unfollow people, double down on certain podcasts, because sometimes they don't always have the same view and you end up being pulled and separated and you're tossed between 2 worlds. What I find personally is I used to, in the beginning, like many of you, seek mentorship from a lot of places. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go from one to the other. And I realized that was like not serving me. So literally locking in with the same people over long term, they've gotten to know my business. They know exactly the goal. They know exactly where my opportunities are. And that has been so fruitful to my business because I just lock in with one person who gets me, who can grow in a relationship with me. And if I outgrow them, they would say, hey, like, you're ready for the next step. And number 5, this actually was like kind of a message that came to me recently at church that I reframed and really loved in business, but I've heard kids say it right now, and that is read the receipts, friends. Read the receipts. And what I mean by that is, like, I want you to collect an archive of past wins and your gut decisions that actually worked out. So I want you to go back to your life and just say, man, I picked a partner. That worked out. I decided to take this job. This worked out. I just leaned into this like conversation with this stranger and ended up being a client. Like, I know there are a lot of receipts in your life where your gut decisions were fruitful. I want you to map that across to your business because it's the same intuition. It's just in a new area where you have less experience, right? It's just like when you started dating or playing a sport or driving a car. It took time to build intuition and trust so that you felt like you had the receipts to lean into. And the faster you fail, going back to number 3, then the more quickly you will accumulate said receipts. So again, I just want to remind you, like, again, where does this second guessing come from? It's that fear of failure. It's that fear of judgment. It's the fear of doing it wrong. It's the imposter things that sometimes come up. And sometimes it's a lack of strategy. And the antidote often to that is a coach that will actually affirm your intuition, which is interesting. I find that this is crazy that this doesn't happen because here's the most important part of this conversation. Great coaches help you build your intuition and not question it. That doesn't mean they're not going to question you. I want to be really clear, but they will ask the right questions. Great coaches ask questions to help you find the answer. And then they can give their experience. Like my coaches in the BDC are like, hey, can I pick your brain? And ultimately, I'm like, I'll share what has worked for me. And I want you to trust your gut because whatever has worked for you may not for me, and vice versa. And so that's where I believe, this is why my coaches are successful in my communities. They love their businesses, they do well, is because I help them build that intuition and build their decision making and reduce the second guessing so they can go out and make powerful decisions on their own. At times I wear a consultant hat when asked, but all the time I'm looking through the lens of that of coaching, of like, how do I equip them? How do I help them see that they're actually empowered to run a business that works for them? And so I would encourage you to practice one of those tools this week and implement it. Read your receipts, run it through your filter, time block your decision, reframe into fail faster, and eliminate some of the mentorship maybe that's not keeping you focused. And I want you to come to the call May 7th and see what it's like to be coached in a powerful place by me to reaffirm that intuition. So again, you can join me at amanda-walker.com/get coached. Come listen for others, submit your question, be in the environment of like-minded individuals. And also, please share this episode. I know there's lots of coaches, you have colleagues, you have friends out there that are second guessing themselves, that are taking forever to hit post, to make decisions. And if you found this episode valuable and it built momentum for you and will continue to build momentum, then I would be so grateful if you would share it. So until next time, go coach them up.